Hello everybody, welcome to the Geekdom. This is Lady Kaylah here, and today I am doing a book review on Evermeet, Island of Elves by Elaine Cunningham. And I'm so glad I can finally get back into reading and book reviews and all that. So I was in the middle of reading Evermeet when school started, and I had to stop. So that sucked. But anyways, Evermeet is a Forgotten Realms book, so it's a lot of fun if you have gotten into like D&D and the Forgotten Realms based D&D and you know a little bit of lore. It's also fun if you know a little bit of gaming, and that's it. So Evermeet's all about elves. Like, if you didn't get the hint from the title, let me just reinstate that it's all about elves. So if you love Elvish lore, this is really fun. Of course, you have to keep in mind it's just the elven lore for Forgotten Realms. So this is kind of just like one interpretation of Elvish history. And the book is very much set up like a history, but told in story form. And it's all about Evermeet, which is like a safe haven for the elves. So it's not like the entirety of Elvish lore. It's just about this one little safe haven that was created for the elves. So you learn how it got started and then a bunch of stories that involve Evermeet, and there's just like this one main storyline, and it's kind of like what's going on currently, and then all the history that we learn about it leads up to that one point. So it's just, the way it's set up is very elaborate, but it's not done in a way where it's overwhelming. I can see where it might be a little bit confusing, but only because you might not remember certain names or certain events or certain key figures and other notable things. And that's the only problem I see someone having, is just not remembering names or something. So other than that, it's not too complicated, but it is set up like in a complex manner, but not in a way where it like gets convoluted or anything like that. So Evermeet is just, since it's like a safe haven, all the enemies of elves want to like get their hands on it or cause some chaos, and then the elves themselves have just their own issues. Like, they have like, there's like different kinds of elves, and so they're so racist. Like, the gold elves hate everyone. They think they're so great. And the other elves hate other clans and have other issues. And then all the like true heroes are the ones that see everyone as just simply elves. Like, we're all one people. So they have their own issues. I like how the gods kind of get involved, and it's kind of interesting how like what happened between the gods reflects what happens to the people of the elves, or the elvish people, sorry. And it just, I like how there's that little connection. And I guess since like the gods are like the ones who created their own like race and their image, so there's like obviously gods for the elves, and there's gods for the orcs, and there's gods for, you know, so on and so forth. It's kind of interesting, since like I guess they have that like special connection between the people that they've created, and so that's why it connects. And so I don't know, I really enjoy that. And the way Evermeet's set up is like, you do have that main story, and so then you'll go back to like the very beginning of the what happened in Evermeet. You even go so far back as like what happened between the gods, and then you have, you know, a little bit later on into the future, but not quite the future where the main story is happening, and then it just goes back and forth, and it just is telling us like history in story form, and it's really interesting, and it's just kind of layered like that, and I thought it was brilliant. And I guess the closest thing I could compare it to is Coromir, how it kind of also did like the history in story form, but Coromir was like only like one kingdom and like one family, and Evermeet's obviously just one like island, but there were just so many like side stories and so many great things going on in Evermeet, whereas Cormier was just focusing on like one family basically. And you would think since Cormier is focusing on something a little bit more concentrated, there would be like more consistency. I don't know, Cormier just had too many plot holes. It was just inconsistent. There was a couple things where I was like, okay, like they started something here but never finished it. Whereas Evermeet, while they do have like side stories and like backstories, they tell you everything you need to know that leads up to the main big event or the main story that's going on. And yeah, so Cormier was like poorly done in my opinion. There were just too many inconsistencies. Whereas Evermeet, sometimes there'd be a side story where you're like, oh, I wish I could like learn more about this side story, but you don't, because that's not what's important. What's important is to know how this story will affect what's going on in the future of the story, and what the main story is. And so everything gets put out there, everything you need to know is covered, it covers all its bases, and Evermeet was just solidly done, and I think it was just great. Like, I was so impressed. Like, Elaine Cunningham has to be like my absolute favorite right now, because I read Salvatore, I read the creators of Cormier, and so far Elaine Cunningham has the writing style that I like the best. And I know a lot of people like R.A. Salvatore for like his battle scenes, but I'm not like a battle scene type of person. I much rather like have a nice elaborate story, and if they never fight a day in their life, I'm like content with it. So Elaine Cunningham does have action, she does have battles, but it's just done so eloquently. It's just done so great. Like, I love Elaine Cunningham's writing style, and the side stories and all the drama and the love interests and the stories, whether they be like a tiny like chapter or they are part of the main storyline, it's all done just brilliantly. And I'm so glad that I picked this up. I believe it was my friend Sarah who told me to read this, but I'm not quite sure, I don't remember. But I know it was suggested to me by more than one person, so whoever suggested this to me, I am so grateful to you. This was really great. This and Name of the Wind are like your guys' suggestion, and those are great. And I'm so glad that you guys are here to make sure that I read some good stuff. So Evermeet, I do highly suggest it, especially if you like Elves, and like I said, or I'm not sure if I said this, but Forgotten Realms is its like own thing, so obviously the Elvish lore in here is not the same as someone else's version of what elves are. So this is just one interpretation of Elvish lore, and I do highly recommend it. I did enjoy it. It was great. It had everything. It had like action, drama, a great story, a nice plot. Everything came together nicely. There was no loose ends, no plot holes, and I'm completely satisfied with it. So thank you for your time. Bye.